Yay. Okay, audio is working. Let's see if today will be a better deal. Look, I am pretty thirsty, so I'm going to bust into the teaspoon that I just brought back home. Well, having another go. Um, the uh, the vendor that I got the FRHs from that were all duds last week um, sent me replacements, another pack of 12. And at least the first one that I opened got nice and hot. So here's the experiment again. And here I think I'm confident enough that I'm doing the whole thing from the beginning, right? Here are some frozen gyoza, which you can see are still pretty frosty. It's my dashi powder. I'm gonna need more dashi powder soon. And some negi. I'm going to assemble the packet. I'm going to put the gyoza into the packet. And what I want to test here is frozen gyoza in the packet, and will it get edibly hot with and will it taste good heated up in a MRE heater? Because these are frozen, right? And normally when you get when eaten MRE, it's not rock solid frozen. Now the temperature will go down some because this is room temperature water, so hopefully that will all even out. So I've got that. I'm gonna put my negi in here. Should be good enough. I'm just gonna eyeball some dashi powder, and then some water, but not enough water to help carry heat around. And seal this guy up. There we go. Now I've got the gyoza ready. Let me get this MRE open. This MRE is better cut than the last one. Like these cuts here are nice and sharp, and so I won't have to use scissors like last time. Just tear it off. Then get the gyoza into the MRE heater. Get the MRE heater well positioned in here. I want the MRE heater to be under bags. So we look inside, outside here. Let me straighten this guy out. The most even heating, I want the MRE heater on one side and the bag on the other side, and I'm gonna let it cook like this. Let's see if I get lucky. So, some water in here. Do not overfill. Small spoons over there. And then you lay it down. And yes, this one is also not a dud. So So I want to lay it down flat like this. That way I can spread the water around. And I can hear it sizzling. Let me put this up to the microphone so you can hear it. Maybe. All right, now you see it is blowing up a bit. Okay. And then with the heater facing down to prop it up on something. In this case, I'll just prop it up since the instructions here still say prop the heater up on rock or something. This is a something. It's not a rock. But I'll set it here. Oh yeah, it's bubbling. Oh yeah, listen to that bubbling. Yeah, you can even kind of see it on camera. Lay it down a little bit more. Maybe I'll lay it down sideways like this so it'll be easier to see on camera. Now this could take a while, because the heat actually lasts a good amount of time, but like it stays at peak heat like 10 to 15 minutes, right? Like it's, I can only touch it for like 1 second before I got to take my hand off. The heat lasts for a good 10 to 15 minutes. And then so
have this too. Welcome to my channel.
We will see. Rock a little bit to even it out. And let's stand it back up. Still bubbling away. So yeah, frozen gyoza in there. Now, to be totally honest, this is not the first time I've done this. When the replacement pack of 12 came, I did this experiment in my kitchen with the first test pack. And it's good that the second pack, now I'm 2 for 2 in this batch, of this batch being good. And it worked out fine. Although it says do not overfill, all caps. I actually overfilled by some amount over the line. It's not a big deal. And I actually didn't even have the heater mat on this side here well placed. When I tested it first by pouring water in, and it was already quite hot, so I couldn't adjust it like I did just now on stream. So I just stuffed the Ziploc bag with the frozen gyoza in there, and because there's water in there, the convection actually evens out the heat pretty well within the Ziploc bag. So now we wait. Still bubbling. So good active chemical reaction. Because the gyoza are frozen, I don't want to mess with it until it's done. Plus, it's too hot to handle, right? Even if I wanted to be eager and take it out early, I wouldn't be able to do it easily because it's just too hot to touch now. So we just keep on waiting. why do this? We're saying, um, well, we have this idea that we want to do this Annie Clover Park event, and somehow Spirit Snare, our gyoza enthusiast, said, "Hey, we should make gyoza." Um, and but it turns out a lot of parks have open flame restrictions. So I'm like, well, if we can compromise, instead of making yaki gyoza, we can do suigyoza. I think that we can use MRE heaters. And went online, yeah, people sell MRE heaters. Keyword here is FRH, flameless ration heater. And the reason why there's a lot of duds in this, right? You just got to be prepared, right? I mean, I wasn't that disappointed last weekend when the FRHs were all duds, because you can't get FRHs, just buy a pack of FRHs from a manufacturer. The FRHs all come from MREs. And when the MREs get expired, so that the food is no longer edible, the FRHs are often still usable. And so a lot of these surplus places, they depackage old MREs, right? The MREs that are still good, they'll sell, right? You go to Army Surplus and you buy them. And the ones that are expired, they depackage the FRHs and sell them off. Because before you dispose of an MRE, you have to take care of the FRH, because you can't just landfill the FRH, because it could, if you have a big box of them, they generate some hydrogen when the chemical reaction occurs. And so if moisture gets into them and they're generating hydrogen and there's a chain reaction, you don't want a box full of these things, of MREs, blowing up. So they have to do something with them, and so they depackage them as part of the disposal process, and sell on the packs of the FRHs. But there's no easy way to tell, just from looking at it, whether or not the FRH is going to work or not. Um, like like between these that are good and the duds, there's nothing obviously different about them. It's true, a few of the duds had visible iron particles escape out of them, because inside of these packets you see here, right, is inside of these packets is iron filings, and sometimes you see some iron filings floating around on the inside, and all of those were bad, right? I've never had one where there was visible iron filings around that was good. However, there are plenty of MREs that looked totally intact, totally good, that nevertheless did not function. And so it's expected that there'll be bad batches, or I expected at least that there would be bad batches in the MREs, in these packets that I bought for something around like $20 for a dozen. And the manufacturer was pretty good when I said, hey, I tested 6 out of the 12 before I ran out of steam. I ran out of steam, and they didn't work. And the seller asked me whether I wanted to refund or replace. I said I'd like a replacement, and they sent it out pretty fast. Right, I contacted them last Saturday, right after I did last week's suigyoza stream, and they got back to me the same day, and I had replacements on Tuesday. And this batch, the first one worked, and the second one also worked. So I have high hopes that the 10 remaining in this batch are good. putting my ear next to it just to listen to hear if it's still reacting. And yeah, it's still reacting. Um, it's still reasonably hot. Oh yeah. It seemed to have cooled down a little, but after I circulated the water, heated right back up again. It's been about 6 minutes so far, and it's still crackling. You can see there's still steam forming, pushing out of the bag. Whoops. That's just water. I guess propping it up makes sense because air is pretty insulating. And if I were out in the bush, the ground might be pretty cold. But hey, I'm indoors. Oh yeah, that's still pretty hot. Yeah, because if I deflate the bag, right, it's deflated now. It'll yeah, it's still generating steam. You can see the bag is inflating. I was reading the New York Times this morning that there's a tapioca pearl shortage because of shipping backlogs, right? Because of the Suez, not just the Suez Canal thing, creating backlogs in the Suez Canal. Um, that backlog has resulted in a backlog at ports. And so even though tapioca pearls produced in Asia wouldn't need to go through the Suez Canal, all of the ports on the West Coast and East Coast are backlogged. And so there's some bubble tea places, so they only have a week, maybe 2 weeks of pearls on hand and can't get any more from their suppliers. And so there might be a boba shortage soon. Which is why I usually don't order my tea with boba anyway. I much prefer lychee jelly. That's what's in here. Lychee jelly. Oh, different places apparently have different supply chain issues. So I guess in the article they interviewed a representative from the boba guys, and I don't think there are any of those stores here in the Bay Area. Honestly, I haven't seen one. Could be wrong. It's not like I go out scouting out boba places now. But Boba guy said that, yeah, it was chain wide. They're real low on stock. They've got a week or two of tapioca left, and then they're done. But then a representative from Share Tea, and there are Share Teas here, said that they actually are not impacted. Um, they have plenty of stock, and their suppliers are reporting that they have plenty of stock also. My ears are playing tricks on me. Anyway, yeah, see it inflated up again, still reacting. No, I'm not going crazy. That's totally the VR chat BGM going on in this set. I'm watching on David's show right now. How much time has passed? It's been 12 minutes. There seems to be too much moisture in here. All right, the Ziploc bag leaked. Interesting. All right, so I didn't have this failure mode last time, but yeah, it's like I smell dashi. I shouldn't be smelling dashi. So the Ziploc bag leaked. This corner here might have gotten too much heat. Okay, so that's a failure mode. Probably what I have is I have some Ziploc bags made of a different material.
Frisbee, welcome to my channel.
So that's disappointing. Now there's a whole bunch of dashi inside the MRE that's now inedible. But it's been 14 minutes. Let's see if this gyoza is in eating shape. Since this gyoza was frozen out of the freezer when I first put it in, which is like the worst case situation. It hadn't had any time to even get to room temperature. Let's see. It's not super hot. I would have liked to leave it in longer. And then I got freaked out by the extra moisture coming in. But it's very edible. These these shirakiku gyoza are pre-cooked, so you don't need to boil them aggressively before eating them. They simply need to be reheated. Mm. Not a spoon. Is it possible to drink this out of the bag? Yeah, it's not. It's this corner here. It's the proper way to try this. This is going to be weird. Could have used more dashi. Okay. So that works. I need to use different Ziploc bags. But I would certainly call that a success. So there is enough heat in FRHs to heat up the gyoza. And they'd be even hotter because I really had just taken those gyoza outside of my freezer. They've been out for like no more than 1 minute when I started cooking. Realistically, if I pre-pack these and then, drive 20 minutes out to some site and then we set up, right? An hour or so in, those gyoza will start from a point that's probably 20 degrees warmer or more compared to where they were now, and they'd be significantly hotter. So other than the issue with leakage, and honestly, leakage would be fine if I didn't put any water in there. Like if I just wanted to reheat the gyoza dry the way that that they would be like an MRE pack, then whether or not a tiny leak opened up in this bag or not would make no difference whatsoever. So that's another idea. All right, that's it. Mission success. Thanks for everyone who tuned in to this thrilling stream.